All right. I got a lot of specific requests from people who asked me to read their thing, so I'm sorry for talking so much. I will eventually talk about my own stuff, but I think I'm going to start with, this is from Jan Asch. She is one of my parents' dearest friends, she and Frank. They live in Hawaii. Jan is a spiritual practitioner, and so what she reads, what I'm going to read in the second half of this, if you don't know, that may be confusing. She was in Hawaii this entire time during my mom's passing, but she is a end-of-life doula, and she communicates with people in a different way, and not by physically being in the same room with them. So just, it might be confusing otherwise, just so you're aware of that. Adrienne was a well-loved friend, an unparalleled storyteller, uniquely endowed, lover of life and wisdom, a fellow seeker, an irreplaceable friend. I loved her for who she was and for all the love she gave to everyone she knew, whether in the form of tasty food or powerful healing. We met at the Satchidananda ashram in Pomfret and entertained all kinds of dreams of living in community together. We talked home births, nursing, raising our sons, family beds, which I'm very familiar with, building houses and homeschooling. We dreamed we would live together somehow and share our experiences. Life intervened a bit. We moved to Vermont, which really was right for us, and Adrienne and Mark moved to Great Barrington and have been there ever since. Also what was meant to be. Still, we have lived together, traveled together, chanted together, done sacred ritual together, cooked together, prayed together, done yoga together, meditated together, built houses together, feasted together, shared past lives together, made crystal grids together, grown food together, played together, talked together, laughed together, created magic together, read together, been naked together, nursed children together, danced together, and wept together. We have celebrated our feminine power, maiden, mother, and crone, and breathed our losses. We have dreamed the world whole together and worried for the earth. And even though we lived far from one another, always felt the joy in each other's presence, and even on FaceTime, as though we had just left the room for a minute and then returned. And once we were together, it was always hard to leave. Just one more story. One more. I remember visiting just after they decided to go into the crystal business. The guest room of the Great Barrington house was also the storage room for all the crystals they'd been buying. It was a while before opening of their first store, the one that was upstairs from the other side of Railroad Street. The energy was extraordinary. It was over the top overwhelming in that bedroom. Yet something about this energy felt so bright, so clear and powerful. I'd never been in the presence of so many substantial healing stones before, no less tried to sleep in the same room with them at night. It was no accident I visited them. I'm sure something magical happened while I slept. I never told Adrienne I didn't have to. She knew before I did. Adrienne's interest in crystals preceded my own, so of course she was the one who woke me up to my relationship with the mineral kingdom. For the gift of her protection, I am eternally grateful. She dreamed dreams and manifested some of them. She knew her wildness and her roots. She danced in the moonlight. She tasted soul and spirit stew. She was always hungry for more. I always felt loved by Adrienne, even when I didn't feel particularly worthy of that love. And it wasn't just the food, but that was good too. It was that I always felt seen and supported. She helped me feel safe with my gifts at a time when I still just wanted to be normal. She saw and accepted me long before I would be able to accept myself. She helped me midwife my gifts with curiosity and encouragement, warmth and loving kindness. When my son was born, she made sure we would greet it with the healthiest, tastiest meal you could ever eat, and it was hot, delivered to our door. Best of all, we got to share it with our spiritual family. The thing Adrienne wanted more than anything else in this world was to be a healer. Maybe she didn't have the same trappings as the other healers she compared herself to. But make no mistake, Adrienne was a gifted healer. She was a healer of the Celtic bard tradition. Her stories were always of the incredible, always meant to leave you wide-eyed, stretched into another dimension somehow. They always had you imagining one foot in the virgin future and a hand above your head, reaching for stars. The days after her heart attack and before she passed, I lay beside her every day. She's in Hawaii. We talked and talked. She told me how proud she was of her son and how grateful she was for his love, for his being, for his having chosen her to be his mom. She told me how much she loved Mark and felt loved by him. We talked about death, of course. She was not afraid to die. She was just unsure. She was loving her life so much she found it hard to believe it could be over just now when it was so full. We breathed together and spoke to her lungs to heal together. I put crystals all around her, my ancient one, grandmother, at her feet. I brought her to the Rainbow Bridge several times, but each time she would turn around and head back. It was not her time. And it wasn't. She wanted another miracle, or two, or three. She wanted to co-create them with Mark and Jonah and Diana and Hila. And so it was. Adrienne shared with me the beautiful gift of being together between worlds. I had hours and hours to mark her with my love to make sure she was well greeted and recognized on the other side. I held hands with the eternal beauty of Adrienne and her goodness. Our truth was naked together once again. And so I so wanted to midwife her across, after she had midwifed me so many times, and shared a sacred dream of being part of the great work together of birthing a new world somehow. I was not with her at the end. She chose her family, as she told me she would. But I got to feel the glory of her soul in the fire of her spirit as she prepared for the end. I got to experience the fierceness of her love, the ferocity of her love, of life itself, and the steely rapier of her will. It was that will that she kept hold of, cutting through logic and reason, cutting through space-time, cutting away the fat of illusion, taking life to the bone, keeping death at bay, dancing, dueling until the end, when all was right with her world. It was not until she was close enough to the light to see into their futures. They would be safe. They would be fine. The new world is on its way, close enough so there was no turning back. Then she let go. I did not get to see that part, but I know she was at peace when she died. And that's all that mattered to me, that she knew she was loved, and she did. That she knew that she mattered so much to so many, and she did. That she knew that her love was eternal, and it is, as is her light and the beauty of her soul. I got to taste her eternal parts. One last feast, the memories that hold the stories of what is now eternal light. So let's all keep telling stories of her goodness, her beauty, and the truth of her love. Let's continue telling stories like prayer flags all night long, and when the morning comes, let's have one more story. Or two. Or three. Jan and Asch.